Today we're going to talk about something completely different. We're going to talk about my car. Now my car is a Peugeot 207 station wagon, model year 2011, so it's 11 years old. It's currently June 2022, just to put a timestamp on the video. So we use the car quite a lot to do long journeys between Spain, where we live, and France, where we have family. It's quite a journey, but we keep the car maintained and it serves us well. And we generally do the trip 2 or 3 times a year. It's quite a long trip, but as I say, we keep the car maintained and the car does the job fine. So back in Christmas of last year, so 6 months ago, as normal we drove up to France, and as normal we stopped in Bordeaux, which is about halfway. So this was on the 23rd of December, so we drove up in the morning, arrived into Bordeaux in the late afternoon and stayed there overnight. So the next morning we went down to the car, started it up fine, but then the steering was incredibly heavy. I mean, you couldn't move it, you could not move the steering wheel. It wasn't locked, but you couldn't move it. Now if you've ever driven a car which has got power steering and the power steering has failed, you'll know that it's possible to still drive the car. It's just extremely heavy, but if it happened while you were driving, you could pull over to the side of the road safely. Now with this, you couldn't even turn the wheel. It was a major failure. So being 24th of December now, we thought, well, this is a great time for this to happen. So we called out the roadside assistance, and they said, yeah, it's a major fault, we can't fix it by here, we're going to have to take it to a garage. Problem is, 24th of December in France, everything was closed. So we were given various options by the breakdown company, and the one we chose in the end was to have the car taken back to Spain, to our local Peugeot garage in Spain, and we would carry on to northern France in a hire car, and then we would deal with it when we got back to Spain. So we eventually got up to our destination in northern France late on the 24th, and a couple of days later we were out having a drink with some friends, and one of our friends, it turns out, used to be a mechanic in the local Peugeot garage in France. Now when I told him what had happened, he immediately said, oh yeah, all of that model in that year left the factory with that fault, and it was going to fail eventually on every single car. And I thought, well, that's strange. So I did a bit of research on the internet. Sure enough, found quite a few examples of it. And I found a few examples in the UK, and I'll put the examples in the links below, where Peugeot had actually paid for the repair of the car, even if the car was 10 years old, 11 years old. So it wasn't anything to do with a warranty. So I thought, oh, that's quite good. So we contacted Peugeot customer service in Spain, opened a case with them and said, you know, we found this information, we feel that you should be making some sort of contribution here, if not paying for the whole repair. And we started talking to them, and we weren't really getting far, but it was over the Christmas period, so we thought, well, we'll leave it until we get back to Spain. So after Christmas we made our way back to Spain, and we went to the garage to collect the car. Okay, so we're back in Spain at the Peugeot dealership, who now have the car. Now in the previous few days we'd been talking to customer services at Peugeot in Spain, explaining that we knew this was the known fault of the car and we feel they should do something about it. And they've just been saying, no, 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 it's out of warranty, full stop. So we thought, well, we need to get the car back, so let's just get the car fixed and see what happens. So we went down the garage, they gave a quotation around €1,000, they did the job, they did a good job, they did it quickly, professionally. We had the car back in a day or two. Can't say anything bad about the Peugeot dealership. But in the meantime, we thought, well, we're not going to let this drop. So we went back to Peugeot customer services, and again, nothing. Eventually they offered us a free the service on the car the next time you want it servicing. So I thought, well, that's a little bit strange, because if you're saying we have no responsibility, why would you give us a free service? So anyhow, we were still getting nowhere with this, so I thought, well, I'm going to have to break this down into smaller parts to try and get to where I want to be. So I asked customer services in Spain at Peugeot for a VIN report on my vehicle. Now, a VIN report, VIN stands for Vehicle Identification Number, and every single vehicle in the EC has a VIN number, and it's unique to that vehicle. It tells you when it was built, where it was built, and things like that, the colour, all these sort of things. And according to the EC regulations, motor manufacturers must retain information on every VIN for 30 years. Okay, I thought, right, let's just see if there's anything in the VIN report of this vehicle that will point to it having any faults, or whether it's been recalled. It tells you all those sort of things, if it's been under recall or there's been any known faults with it. So I started to ask for this report, and I was getting all sorts of weird and wonderful replies from customer services in Spain. First one they said was, oh, we don't provide that information because we only have to keep records legally for 6 years. And I'm thinking, well, no, you're getting mixed up there. Now, 6 years is the legal requirement in the EC and the UK for keeping your accounting information. It's got nothing to do with the VIN number. It's all about your accounts and everything, your tax, things like that. So I said, well, I'm sorry, I don't buy that. So then they said, we changed our computer system a few years ago, and all the information prior to that, we can't access it anymore. Or if we did, it would have to be a very expensive process for us to do it. And I said, well, again, I'm sorry, but that's not my problem, that's your problem. You have a requirement to maintain the records for 30 years. So again, I was getting nowhere, and eventually they just stopped replying, and they just said, we're closing the case, we're not willing to talk to you anymore. I thought, great, thank you. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to escalate this. So I could mess about. I thought, no, I'm just going to go straight to the top here. So I did a bit of research on the internet, and I came across the name of the CEO of Peugeot in France. I thought, well, I'll go straight to the top. And it happened to be a British lady. Certainly had a British name. So managed to find her email address, which wasn't easy. There is no contact details on any Peugeot website apart from their customer service. You cannot get through to any of these. No head office phone number, no nothing. So I started to write emails to this lady at Peugeot in France. I presume it's in Paris, I don't actually know because it doesn't say on the website. Explaining what had happened and asked her to get involved. So, nothing. I was repeating the emails every couple of weeks. Eventually, I received an email from Peugeot Customer Services in Spain. And from the text of the message, I could see that they'd been instructed to contact me by the CEO in France. I could just tell by the text because they referenced it. And again, they basically said, no, your car's not under warranty. And I said, well, hold on a second, I accept the car is not under warranty, but I'm asking you for a VIN report of my vehicle. It's got nothing to do with the warranty. Please, can I have a VIN report? So we're now in June, and I still do not have my VIN report for my vehicle. Why wouldn't they send me the report when they have an obligation to? It can only be because there's something in that report that they don't want me to see. What else could it possibly be? So that's where we are today, mid-June. Still don't have an answer from Peugeot. Tried to explain to Peugeot, especially to the CEO, that a company's gauged on how they react when customers are not happy, not on how they react when customers are happy. I myself have a company, and there is no way I would treat my customers the way Peugeot are treating me. I would at least respond to them, I would at least answer their questions. I'm not even getting that from Peugeot. In fact, I feel a little bit insulted, to be honest with you. Now, the ironic thing is, we were planning on changing the car this year. Now, I'm actually happy with Peugeot as a car. I've had them in the past, and this one's been fine. And obviously, Peugeot was an option to replace the car with another Peugeot. But I can't do it. I mean, how could I possibly buy, let's say I bought a new car or a nearly new car from them, and then I had a problem with it? This is the level of customer service I'm going to get. I can't risk that. I can't risk it. Now, I'm not saying that other motor manufacturers would be any better. I don't know. But I've only had experience with Peugeot, so I can only talk about Peugeot. So, if any of you got any ideas what I should do next in order to push this forward, or maybe you'll go through the same thing and you need any advice from me, by all means drop a comment below and I will get back to you. Maybe you think I'm mad for doing this, maybe, but I am doing. Why am I making this video? Because I can't think of any other way to get Peugeot's attention. Now obviously I'm going to be forwarding the link to this video to the CEO, so Linda, when you get this, you know, hopefully you'll now get back to me, respond to me directly, personally. You can write to me in French or Spanish or English, or you can call me in any of the 3 languages. Don't worry, we'll be okay. But so Linda, please contact me.